Hey guys, Sandra here from CandidaDietPlan.com, helping you to thrive on an 80% paleo diet. Now, let me see if I can share the stream here. It's a little bit choppy, but well, I leave that to later then, technology. So today's topic stems from a question that popped up in the Facebook group. Charlotte asked what the difference is between paleo and Candida diet. She's a bit confused. She's tried the Candida diet and it doesn't seem to be working for her. So she's wondering if paleo might be better for her. It's actually a valid question, and I've been humming and hawing at certain points in my diet journey too, because yeah, it can be well confusing. You look at the recipes and you think, well, that all looks the same to me, so where's the difference? Basically, if you look at paleo, the Candida diet, and I've also included the body ecology diet here, which a lot of people I know follow. The main difference is that you've got the Candida diet and body ecology on one side, and paleo is slightly different. So when you look at Candida diet and body ecology, the main focus there is on re-establishing a really healthy microbiome in the gut. So body ecology, so really the ecology in your body. And the main focus there is to add more probiotics and probiotic-rich foods and making sure that those are fed. So that's the key component there. That's why you see a lot of fermented foods being added to the diet at different stages. That's where they slightly differ. The body ecology focuses heavily on that right from the start, but it is also split into different stages. So at different points in the diet, you allow different foods, and it progressively gets a bit wider, the choice. Whereas the Candida diet does that as well, but it's slightly different in that it doesn't allow fermented foods in the beginning of the diet, because it argues that you're very sensitive. Most of the people starting on the Candida diet regime have multiple chemical sensitivities. They react to yeast, to mushrooms, to all sorts of fungal or to those types of organisms, and therefore even fermentation that is healthy, like sauerkraut, kefir, those types of food can cause a reaction and bloating or skin rash, uncomfortable, thanks guys, situations and symptoms. And therefore it is better, they argue, you start really gentle with a very anti-inflammatory diet approach, cutting out all foods that could possibly cause any reaction. And then later on, once you stabilize your immune system, then you keep adding back the probiotics and the fermented foods, which made the most sense to me, to be honest. Therefore, I chose the Candida diet rather than the body ecology. Plus, also body ecology, they sell a lot of their own fermented drinks and produce, and I thought it was quite a hefty price tag. So if you can afford that, brilliant. It's quite convenient to get everything shipped to your house. But yeah, if funds are tight because you already pay so much for natural remedies and medication and the such, then perhaps a simpler diet approach in the beginning is easier for you. But that doesn't mean you couldn't pick a few of the recipes of the body ecology diet that you see are aligned with your current protocol, and you enrich your diet that way. Now, that is the body ecology and Candida diet. They share the same types of foods, whereas paleo, the whole diet approach is slightly different. It came about with the notion that humans evolved, that they were hunter and gatherers. And it is believed that therefore our whole digestive system and immune system also evolved from that base. And all those types of food that hunter and gatherers would have available, like berries or nuts or meat from some animals they've hunted, that they are best suited still for our current bodies because they haven't evolved that much. They argue that grains aren't actually really good for our digestive system. So that makes total sense in some ways. So I'm not totally against paleo, by no means, But their focus is not so much on gut healing, although a lot of their foods are naturally, because they're so organic and so pure, not using any pesticides, fertilizers, and keeping everything really highly nutritious. It is very good for the body. But again, it's not geared to, say, dealing with Candida overgrowth like the Candida diet is. So there's a specific protocol to help you not feed any yeast or microorganisms that might be slightly out of proportion in your body. So that's what you have to bear in mind. Why are you doing the diet? Is it just because you want to be healthier, have more energy, possibly lose weight? Or is there actually something you feel is wrong with you? Some discomfort, bloating, recurring infections, thrush, mood imbalances, anything where you feel you're out of whack. Your system is quite, it's not what you're used to. You have anxiety, you name it. Paleo is a lot simpler. There are no different phases. You just follow the simple approach. Can you hunt or gather it? Is it fairly pure and healthy and fresh? You can eat it. That means you can also eat fruit and honey or maple syrup, so slightly sweeter foods. All those things you really can't eat on the Candida diet and body ecology, because they would feed the microorganisms that they're trying to balance out and restart your digestive system. So in a nutshell, those are really the biggest differences, that the paleo diet seems simpler as an approach because it allows you to have fruit, and certain fruit. They still say it's not so good to eat fruit that's out of season, or very, very sweet fruit like pineapple, tropical fruit, dried fruit. So they would stick to berries and such most of the time. But on the flip side, they don't allow grains, so no rice, no cereal, no grains of any type, not even like breakfast oatmeal. And that's quite a big shock to the system if you're used to having your comfort foods. So you might, have to change your habits there, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's just quite hard to do from a standpoint of, convenience. It is a good thing to do even when you want to heal your gut, though. So it's part of a Candida diet regime also, but the way they do it is they are strict in the beginning, but then they allow grains back onto the menu, which makes it totally much easier to do. At least for me, it seemed like that, because a lot of the comfort foods that I was used to, bread, coming from Germany, we're heavily bread eaters, and sandwiches and breakfast cereals. I find it really hard with a busy entrepreneur lifestyle not to resort to some type of whole grain meals. That's why I lean towards a mixed combination approach. I choose some nourishing paleo meals, but I also allow certain grain or just real food meals into my diet, wholesome stews and other meals, which brings us back to the second point that paleo doesn't allow you to have, and that is legumes. Anything like beans, lentils are off the menu. It's not allowed. And again, hard for me. I'm used to having really thick, nourishing broth and soup with some lentils and things in there, which have really helped me a lot in strengthening my immune system over the past few years. And I find it hard to cut that completely out of my diet. That's why I also like what the Body Ecology are doing, because they allow those foods back after a few weeks as well. And they say when it's properly prepared, like when the legumes are sprouted, and therefore a lot of those negative anti-nutrients that are a challenge for your system to digest, they are removed from the fermentation process, and therefore much easier to digest. So you could have some sprouted bread or made from sprouted grains. I think Ezekiel is a typical one a lot of people choose for that reason. I like the idea. I've tried sprouted spelt bread for the first time last week, which agreed really well with me, and I liked a lot. So I think it's a thing with balance. If you don't have those foods all the time, then it helps your body to deal with it much better. But it's up to you. You can go a strict approach there and try to cut it out completely. Or, yeah, it's really, everyone is different in that sense. So you can't pick one diet and expect that everything's going to work well for you. It's a little bit trial and error there, seeing what agrees with you and what doesn't. But what all the diets have in common, those three, is definitely a focus on eating a lot of greens, a lot of fresh vegetables, organic vegetables, and some grass-fed meat. They also use healthy oils and good fats, so that's coconut oil, macadamia oil, olive oil, things like that, flax oil, really good nourishing oils. And you don't have to worry that you're putting on weight, because they're actually really good for you and only help you on your weight loss journey, I found. And those are the main points. Let me just look. I've made a little table here. It's actually quite handy if you see it in black and white. I'm going to share that in my blog post, which comes out on Fridays. If you want a handy printout, it's on its way. And that makes it a little bit easier then to compare it side by side to see which one might suit you best. Just to recap, the body ecology and the Candida diet do allow some grains back after a few weeks, say a month, 6 to 8 weeks into the diet, especially gluten-free grains like amaranth, millet, quinoa. Those are generally better tolerated than gluten-rich grains like spelt, for instance. Although I did find once you reverse your food allergies, which you can do slowly but gradually by, well, it's actually a topic of a whole live stream probably. It did take me a fair few months to do that, but you don't have to worry if now you don't, it doesn't agree with you, certain foods like dairy or wheat. Certain foods you will be able to bring back into your diet and tolerate just fine. So don't think just because you can't have it now that you'll always have to cut it out. And the same applies to sugar-rich foods and yeast, mushrooms, for instance. Paleo allows mushrooms, but the Candida diet and body ecology not. So if those foods don't agree with you, or the yeast in normal bread, you react to that, the sensitivity will disappear with time. So chin up wherever you are in your health journey. I know it can be confusing at times and like tapping in the dark and really frustrating, especially having to watch what you eat is not the common approach. Most people around you will probably just happily eat whatever they like. So I know what it feels like. It is tough, but I can promise you, you'll feel so much energy and you'll feel so much happier, and it is no comparison. Once you've rebalanced the system and you've strengthened your immune system, it will all seem worth its while. It's well worth doing and will stand you in good stride for years to come. So hang in there, do the best you can with what you have. And let me know in the comments below, maybe if which of those 3 diets you think is best suited for you. And if you want to discuss this topic further, then pop into the Facebook group. That would be awesome. We can continue the conversation there. All right, guys. Bye-bye.